Okay, everybody, for our first class, first week, we are going to go over some of the basics of HTML. It was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. Let me see here, and this is also in Canvas. So I'll show you where this is out. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is the most widely used language to write web pages. Hypertext refers to the way that web pages link together. Thus, the link available on a web page is called hypertext. As the name suggests, it's a markup language, which means you use HTML to simply mark up a text document with tags to tell a web browser how to structure it to display. So, when was this invented? When did this Berners-Lee guy invent HTML? I believe it was in 1991. (1993). The versions, we're up to HTML5 now, and we will get to what that means in later sections. So basically, when HTML first came out, when web pages first came out, they were extremely simple. Usually it was just information or an advertisement about a company, maybe things for education, things of that nature. There wasn't a whole lot to a website. Very rarely were they entertaining. I wish I could find some really obsolete websites. I've looked and I haven't had much luck. Everything has been updated as time's gone on, but I mean, probably buried somewhere. There's still some that haven't been updated since like '95, if they're even still compatible. Well, that's the thing. If you're not, you have to be at least up to HTML5 to be compatible with all browsers now. So, with that being said, it's hard to find even an example of an antique website. But the internet started. When it first came about, you would have to call somebody on the phone and ask them for their IP address. That was before we had domain name servers, which automatically link you to a website. The domain name server gives the website IP. It ties it to the name for you. So if you type in google.com, you're actually going to Google's IP address, and sometimes, depending on what web browser you have, you may be able to see the IP address for just a second up here or up here. Well, let's just try putting in we'll just use that one. Let's see where this takes us. Okay, so future M of something cool. So somebody has bought this space, this domain name. I don't know what the domain name is because we just went to it through the IP address, and I guess they're going to make a website here. Now their IP address is more than likely going to change unless for whatever reason they've had it made static. But the domain name service would handle that. So their website might be edscoolcars.com. It's hard to say, and whatever IP address he has, the DNS will refer people to his site. So we no longer have to worry about knowing what IP address people have at that particular moment in time. But anyhow, that's a little bit for the history of the internet. I know that www is World Wide Web, and know that TCP is transfer. Oh, here I go again. Transfer Control Protocol. DHCP, Dynamic Host Control Protocol, or I'm sorry, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Try to know what all the default names stand for. I'm sure that most of you do, but everybody knows that you can do the same thing I do and just look it up. IP is IP address. What other ones are there? HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That makes perfect sense. If you put an S on the end, it makes it secure. But it's not going to. Oh, there we go. So there's all these different abbreviations that are used in the computing world, and you guys all probably have a pretty good idea that that's how it is by now. So let's dive into some HTML and hope that this works. Now, the first thing that is extremely important that you guys understand, we are in a text document right now. So every HTML document has to have the HTML flags in it. And what is in between these flags is what is known as the elements of the flag. So, for example, right here I'm going to put title, my first. And then I'm going to close out the flag. So what is in here is the element of the flag. Or actually, I think the way some people say it now is this is the element and this is the content of the element. Either way you want to say it is fine. I've heard it worded both ways. These are the flags, this is the element within the flag, this is the element, and this is the content within the element. So make sure if you're ever talking to somebody, you know what they mean, because people have said it both ways. Okay, so the title, and then I'm going to just, you know what, actually, I'm just going to call this test. Close out my body tag. Oops. Close out HTML. Okay, now I'm going to save this. I'm just going to put it on my desktop, that way it's very easy to find. We'll just call it first.html, or first.text. Now I'll show you what happens. So here it is. Now if I open it, that's not a website. So what do we have to do? We have to go to File, Save As, and save this as first. Now this, you have to click on all files for the computer to recognize that you are designating the file name extension. Okay, so our file name extension is going to be .html. Now the computer is going to know now that when we click on this, it is supposed to open in a web browser because it is hypertext markup language. And my default browser is set to Edge, even though I use Chrome for everything, but let's see what it does. Guess it doesn't matter. I'm assuming it's just lagging. Let's just give it just a second here and see what's going on. There it is. It's really lagging considering it's like a 5-bit. Okay, so here is what was in the title tag, and here was the beginning of my body. So I want you guys to practice that first, because this is a spot where a lot of people trip. So your very first assignment, actually I'll put a separate assignment description in, this is basically what I want to see, your title and your test. That way I know that you have to go to Save As, and you have to click all documents and make it a .html, and that's how you'll get it to open in a web browser and actually appear as a website. So that'll be the very first thing that we do. It's just simply using Notepad as a text editor. Now, what if you are on a Mac? I don't have a Mac, so I'm just going to have to do this. How to use the setting is called Make Plain Text. So in the text edit app on your Mac, go to File, New, Format, Make Plain Text. Let me see. I'm sure that there are plenty of videos on this. This does look correct right here. I hope I don't get flagged for just flat up putting somebody else's video on mine. We'll see. I just know a lot of you have MacBooks that you work with from home, and I want to make sure format, make plain text, right there. That's all you need to know. And then when you save as .html, it will work. If you don't do that, it doesn't work, and it can be pretty confusing to figure out why if somebody doesn't point that out to you. Okay, so other than that, I think that's all I have for your very first lecture, and I hope you guys enjoy the class. And oh, I guess I should also point out, make an account with W3 Schools. It's very easy to do. If it doesn't log me in, okay, it's going to log me in automatically, but it'll prompt you to create an account. Just use your school email address as long as you know what it is, or I don't care if you use your personal one, and then it tracks all your progress for you and all of that. But this is what we're going to be following: W3 Schools, HTML, until we get the hang of this, because this is very well laid out, and it's very easy to reference, and you can see what all you've completed and what you haven't. So, yep, that would be it for your very first lecture. Good luck and have fun.